play a very specific role in contact. They have had a strong relationship with your people since the beginning. They represented the dimensions of the Anunnaki civilization connected to the being you call Enki. They, in many ways, supported the feminine principle of the earth, whilst the earth was being dominated by certain masculine yang polarities. So, certain Anunnaki, you could say colonizers, came to earth, formed their initial colonies, created forms of life that would serve them. And they did this. It's not like they asked. They went in and did this. The forms of life that they created, these were not the only hominid, humanoid forms on the planet. There were many other species. Denisovians, Neanderthals, even what you would consider to be dimensions of the original humanity, a species of light beings that came to Earth and crystallized prior to the Anunnaki arrival. So all of these different forms, hominid, these different humanoids, they were on the Earth the same time that what you call Homo sapien was engineered and created. So this type of, you could say, dynamic was observed by the beings of the Pleiades, and they could see that this was an imbalance. They could see that this was an issue. So they became subtle guides for not just these other humanoid forms that occupied the planet, but for the newly created Homo sapien. They helped to keep things relaxed. They helped to keep things cool and calm. They helped to create positive synchronicity portals that would help the newly created beings and the other beings of the Earth to shift to more and more and more auspicious timelines. This eventually caused some of the more oppressive Anunnaki beings to be pushed off planet. So the Pleiadians have been helping your species since the very beginning. And in case you're wondering, Homo sapien, your species, you are not the original species of Earth. You're a newer species, a hybrid species. So do not forget this. There are beings much older than you that you share the surface with and that live beneath your planet. Original humans and original founders who worked together to create what you would consider to be this Gaian infrastructure. So, because the Pleiadians have played this role with all of you across time, they continue to play that role now. It's not as if they've stopped. Their craft are designed to stir your imagination in powerful ways. For when you see Pleiadian crafts, they are not just technologically impressive, they are visually impressive. They are beautiful. They're meant to induce healing states, states of love, states of mystical connection. The Pleiadians represent a few things, and this is unique to them. They have spent aeons crafting this focus. This has been their devotional focus, generation after generation after generation. They embody what you would consider to be the higher mind, the higher mode of navigation. This is a compassionate, this is an intelligent, and this is a powerful mode of navigation. They use this mode of navigation to organize their lives, their society, and their relationships with one another. Their minds to you would be similar to what you would consider to be a perfected human mind. When you think of a person who has reached one of their highest levels of potential and capability, when you think of that person, whoever they may be, the Pleiadians are like that kind of person. Think of your Earth's ascended masters. This is how the Pleiadian mind functions. Keep in mind, they also have a strong relationship to the goddess, to the powers of the feminine. Therefore, they have a strong relationship to primordial beauty. So their focus on life is one of inclusion of opposites in a way that emphasizes beauty, similarity, complement, and contrast. Imagine seeing light and dark in a way, in a dynamic way, where beauty is revealed. This is how they perceive. This is how they see. This is how they live. Light and dark are not at odds. They complement each other in a beautiful way to Pleiadians. So when Pleiadian craft show up in your skies, it's not just meant to impress you and dazzle you with what is technologically possible. It's meant to communicate some of these other Pleiadian ideals to you, so you can begin to see life like they do, so you can become a little more like them in your sense of perceptions, which will ultimately push you and your civilization closer and closer to contact. Because if you're too different from the Pleiadians, you will not be able to mirror them appropriately, and it will be an awkward interaction. The contact might not stick. So in order to make that contact long-lasting and powerful, you have to be able to mirror them a little bit. So you have to get to know them. That's why their crafts are showing up. So that way you can get used to that energy ahead of time before they are on the ground in front of you physically. You have to be ready for that moment. So this is the training for that moment. And if you can be compassionate with them, well, you will be able to extend that compassionate heart to any species that you interact with. So they are similar to you in that they are human-like. They are different than many of you in that they have embodied their ideal. And they represent the leading edge for many of you because they have chosen alignment as their operating system. And in that way, they are here to prepare you, so you can be all you can be. And that way you can interact with and see all that you could possibly see. Without being you, there's not much you can do. So, through being yourself, you open the door to communication with many species, and that is their role, to help you with that.